In this video, we're going to finish off the arrangement that I did for You Stepped Out of a Dream for jazz piano. Hey, it's Paul Tobey from Jazzmentl.com. Thanks for joining me for another one of my tutorials. Yeah, we're going to work on the second section for You Stepped Out of a Dream. It is sheet music that I put together, and we're going to be focusing again on some of the arranging techniques, some of the chord symbols, and also the rhythm, stride piano, and all of the other things that are going on in this video. The whole point is for you to be able to take some of these ideas and eventually apply them to your own arranging for piano, for things like jazz standards or anything from the real book for that matter, and even popular tunes. So the arranging techniques are not just for You Stepped Out of a Dream, they are for pretty much any tune that you want to tackle. And remember, if you have any questions or comments, please put them below. Before we get started, if you like this video, all you need to do is give it a thumbs up. That would be awesome. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, just hit the little bell and we'll notify you of all of our upcoming tutorials. Let's get started. Okay, we're now on the second half of the You Stepped Out of a Dream arrangement. If you missed the first tutorial, you can go check that out, but I think it's a good idea to stick around. I'm just basically playing through the tune. So we're just repeating the first 6 bars from the head. So again, we've got that bass line going and we're playing block chords in the right hand. Exactly the same thing as the C major, except we're going up a half step and then we're going to E7. There's that blue note. And here's where it gets different. So we could have gone to C7 there, but it's really just a half step above F7. So this is the tritone substitution for C7. And it's a lovely chord. So in this case, what does it say? F flat 7 sharp 5 over F sharp? That's not really the way to think about it. It's more like a G flat sharp 11 chord, as it's written in the tune itself. So from the E flat, keeping the left hand going. So there's a lot of stride going on in there, just like I talked about in the first tutorial, where the left hand is kind of plunking down bass notes like in the F9. Of course, we are focusing on this bar right here. Playing the bass, then the chord. And let's go on to the next line. Then we have this D half diminished 7th chord. And in the right hand, actually, we're playing the E and the G. So it's a D half diminished 7th chord with a 9 and 11. Now all this is a G7 sharp 9 chord with a flat 13 or sharp 5, except instead of playing the root, we're playing B flat. So just copying the melody. It's a lot more dissonant and very nice. So kind of stands out in the arrangement actually. People really like it. And then a G sharp 5 chord. And then nice big chord there. So the right hand is doing these notes. And the left hand is playing the root, the 5th, and the 3rd. There we go with that blue note again. In this case, it's a blue note of D. So the minor 3rd of D, a D blues scale. Right? So if we were going to D minor, that's what those sharp 5 notes are for. So from the E minor 9th, I know you can't see that, but let's scroll over and take a look at that. So from the A plus 7, and I need to scroll back to see that. Just a nice big chord on D minor 9. And then that just repeats until the end. So you could play it like this, or you could use these chords. C6-9 to D flat 6-9. Very cool. Okay, just before we go, and again, I'm going to post a link to the arrangement in just a moment, but I wanted to give you a sense of how to solo over this thing. So for example, if the first two chords are C major and then D flat, one of the things you might want to consider is just use pentatonic scale. So it sounds kind of like this. Just these notes here. So 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So just something like this. To D flat. So whatever you're doing on this C major 6th chord, copy that for the D flat. And then C6. Okay, now there's a lot more things you can do with that. You can play Bebop Scale on C and D flat. And then when you get to the E flat 7, you can do like blues. To A flat. Now blues on E flat is kind of using the A flat blues scale like this. Okay, that kind of helps you with the first few chords. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about all the other chords, but what I would suggest is that you listen to the recording that I did of this tune. I played ahead a couple of courses of solo just to kind of get a sense of how that swing feel goes, and trying to keep that left hand bass doing kind of like stride patterns that we talked about in the first video. You know, it's playing the root and then the chord. And I try to keep that consistent throughout the solo. So please go and check that out. I'll post a link to it up here in the corner so you can go check that out. And then also, I really wanted to give you a link to the sheet music because I've written out the entire arrangement, and in these last two tutorials, including this one, I've gone through that sheet music in detail to give you a sense of how I put it all together. So the link to the sheet music is now up here in the corner, and I really want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please be generous with your questions and your comments down below. It really helps the channel a lot, but you know, whatever question it is, it helps me make tutorials. And if your question is very specific, I can definitely make a tutorial about that, or I can answer you one-on-one. Right, so thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I will see you in the next tutorial.